2007, Greg and Lauren came by my parents' place in Aromas. They're getting ready to move out to Arizona, and a few weeks before moving out there, Greg came out just to hang out, see my gym that I had set up at the ranch. We were walking around, and Greg says something to me like, "Wouldn't it be cool to do a competition here? Wouldn't it be cool to have an event here?" And I said, "Yeah, that would be kind of cool." He mentioned how he's always wanted to do that, but he never got around to it, or never really created a CrossFit event of a big scale. So we talked a little, and we decided, yeah, let's run a competition here, and we'll do it in the summertime. And his guidance was, let's make it like the Woodstock of fitness. With that mindset, we started to plan the first ever CrossFit Games. We went back and forth on what we were going to call it. You know, the Woodstock of fitness was one idea. That didn't stick too well. Some other people threw out some other ideas, and the games someone tossed it out there, why don't we call it the CrossFit Games? And at first it wasn't received well within our core group. We discussed it some more, and then finally decided, yeah, let's try this. Let's call it the CrossFit Games. We started organizing it and started planning it, and we knew it was going to be small, and set the date for, I think it was second or third weekend of July of 07, and started getting some interest from some of the Canadian competitors at the time. So it was a really exciting international event already in 07 in our eyes. We had the Canadians coming down for the weekend to compete against our best, we had, you know, Josh was competing that year, and Jeremy Thiel, and there was a few others at that point who were unknown who were competing. July rolls around, and we had about 70 competitors total signed up between men and women, and about 150 spectators, maybe more, actually come and show up to the event. And it was really it was a really small competition. It was just a bunch of people out there looking to have fun, looking to do some workouts, not knowing where it was going to go from there. Now I characterize it as the beginning. It was the beginning of something unknown, something bigger than we thought we were on to. I had no idea where the games and the competition aspect of CrossFit were going to take us to. If you would have asked me in 2007, after that event, what the future of the games were, I would have told you, yeah, it was really fun and exciting, and we had a good time, and maybe we'll do this year in and year out. But it was truly the beginning of this storm of competition that was about to engulf us. There's a couple things that defined that year for me. One was Chris Spieler. We didn't know about him back then. We didn't really know who he was or how good of a CrossFitter he was until that event. He came out of nowhere and did really well. If it wasn't for the CrossFit total, I don't know what the rankings would have ended up being, but he would have finished a lot higher. At the time, he was 135 pounds, and he did the first workout of the event, which was a hopper workout he probably had the second or third fastest time of the weekend. And to have the second or third fastest time of the weekend, you were getting faster time. You had a faster time than people like Josh Everett, OPT, and some of these other guys that were there. So he burst onto the scene in a major way. That was one thing that stuck out to me, was his performance. Another thing that stuck out to me was the way the event ended. It ended on Josh Everett attempting 570 pounds for it. It would have been his PR at the time, and it would have been for him to win the competition in the CrossFit total. He didn't make the lift, but the energy that was in there when he was attempting that weight, it was unbelievable. Another defining moment of the whole event, defining characteristic, was the CrossFit total and the two approaches we had to it. One approach was we had the top 20 athletes, men and women, inside the shop, going through the legit scoring with each platform had like 6 or 7 judges, and just all this logistics to support 2 people lifting at a time. And then outside of the shop, we had the ghetto CrossFit total going on, which was more in line with what we are, which is more in line with CrossFit. And what I mean is, in what we are is it was a bunch of people out there drinking beer, lifting weights, having fun with one judge. And in that year, in '07, that was the appropriate way to do it, and it worked really well out there. And you watched people, Connor Banks back squatting I forgot how much it was, I think it was over 500 pounds, and Freddie had a huge press at the time, over 200 pounds, and it was just exciting. There was a lot of energy watching our version of the total versus we'll call the sanctioned version of the total going on inside. The first workout of the event was a hopper workout. We determined the workout by spinning a hopper. It was the first true hopper competition in the games, and we drew from the hopper. Heavy push jerks came out, and I think it was pull-ups. I don't know if we pulled pull-ups out or if we just chose pull-ups, but so the workout ended up being 1,000 meters. Then it was 7 heavy push jerks. At the time it was 135 pounds, and then 25 pull-ups, 5 rounds of that. Row the 1,000, then the couplet was 5 rounds all on its own. And 7 push jerks at 135 pounds, that was Chris Spieler's body weight. So during that heat, we had stacked the heats to where Josh, AFT, and OPT were all in the same heat at the end, but the heat prior to that had Chris Spieler and Freddie was in that heat. At the time, I didn't know Chris Spieler, but I remember Freddie about to finish, and I was cheering him on. I'm like, hey, you're about to finish, you're going to have the fastest time in the heat, and someone taps me on the shoulder, a judge, and they go, hey, Chris Spieler, this guy over here, has been done for about 2 or 3 minutes. And I look over and I see him, and he's small, he's a little guy, and I'm like, that's not possible. I told someone, I'm like, check with him, because he might have done a round, he might have been short a round. I go, I don't know how he could have beat someone like Freddie's size or as strong as Freddie. And it turns out he really did do all 5 rounds, and he really was much faster than Freddie was on that workout. And Freddie did great on that workout, but it was just insane that this little guy came out of nowhere and clean and jerking his body weight for reps was able to beat most of the bigger guys. That performance to me stood out. The '07 Games programming was 3 workouts over 2 days, and we had one true CrossFit workout, which was the hopper. We decided we're going to put the hopper to test. So the first workout we didn't know what it was going to be, but the other 2 workouts we did that weekend. One was a long run, which was not as long as the run of the '09 Games, but which was still really long. And the third workout was the CrossFit total. Here was the reasoning behind that. We wanted to have one pure CrossFit thing, one running thing, and one strength thing. We gave a cash prize for each of those events. A lot of people don't remember that, but if you were first in the CrossFit workout, you got like a $500 cash prize. First in the total, you got a prize, and then first in the run, you got a prize. The reason we did that is we were hoping to draw, and it was such a small event, it was kind of lofty, we were hoping to draw people who weren't CrossFitters to do just the run. Maybe some local runners would come and try their hand on the run against CrossFitters, and then maybe some local strong guys would come and do just the CrossFit total against our athletes. The thing was, though, to be in contention for the cash prize, you had to have also done the 2 other events. So if someone from the running community came and crushed our run, for him to get the cash prize, he would have had to have done the CrossFit workout and the CrossFit total. It didn't turn out that anybody from those communities showed up. It was pure CrossFitters, and that was fine, and we still had a blast. But that was the thinking behind it. Pure CrossFit, run event, and a strength event. I'll be honest, after the '07 Games, we scheduled the '08 Games, and we kind of just ignored them and forgot about them. Here's why. We were like, that was really cool, that was fun, and it's going to be a little bit bigger next year. Maybe not. If we're lucky, it'll be a little bigger. And it wasn't anything to give any thought to. So for most of the year, we ignored it. And then probably in April or May of '08, we closed the well, I look online and I see our registration for the games. It's been open for a while. I think we had about 50 total athletes registered. So I'm like, okay, there's really no interest this year. Let's just close off registration and run a small event. We close off registration. We put sold out on the site that the games are no longer open for registration, and we get flooded with emails, literally hundreds of emails from people saying, hey, I wanted to compete. Why'd you guys close off registration? And we decided, okay, we realized, hey, this is bigger than we thought. A lot of people want to do this, and let's open up registration. We opened up registration, and in 24 hours, an additional over 200 people registered to compete. And the field quickly swelled to 300 competitors. We had to cap it again, and then we started focusing on, okay, we have to run a big event now. We have over 300 competitors showing up to Aromas to do the CrossFit Games from all over the world, and what are we going to do? How are we going to pull this off? So we went from not thinking the event was going to have any interest to, wow, there's a ton of interest and we have to accommodate this. And one thing drove how 08 was laid out primarily was that number of 300 people. 300 people is a lot of people to put through workouts, and we wanted to have more CrossFit workouts. We wanted the event to have more of a CrossFit feel. So we went with this format of there's going to be 3 workouts on day 1. And we wanted to do this every second counts scoring format. This was the first year that we used the every second counts format. And to do that and to make it fair with those 3 workouts and to get 300 people through, all 3 workouts had to be kind of short. If we would have made any of those workouts long, there was really no way, at least that we could figure out at the time, to get 300 people through a format of 3 workouts in one day where any one of those workouts was long and not just, take from 8 in the morning to midnight. So what drove the format, and the format being 3 workouts of those 3 workouts being really short and fast, was the fact that there was so many people competing. So we had three short workouts, one being the deadlift burpee workout, which was deadlift 275, I think it was 5 reps and then 10 burpees, 5 rounds. Then there was a hill sprint workout, which was, I think it was 800 meters. And then the third workout was chest to bar Fran. And all 3 of those workouts could be done in the same time frame, which was about 3 to 6 minutes for someone fast. And that's why we had that format of in the 08 games. Interesting thing about that was the chest to bar pull-up, how that came about. We had saw the previous year from the first games we did in 07 that it was hard to judge for a lot of these inexperienced judges, and at the time they're inexperienced because we'd never done a competition before. It was hard to judge just the standard pull-up, and then some people are complaining about the butterfly because they're saying they weren't, their head wasn't going over the bar. So we decided to take all that out, and I was talking to Coach, and I was like, well, what do you want to do? How should we do this? And he's like, let's just throw in the chest to bar pull-up. And we said, cool, let's do it. And we did chest to bar Fran and Chris Spieler, and we didn't call it chest to bar Fran. We just called it thruster pull-up workout, which I'm happy we did. And Chris Spieler had the fastest time on that, which was, I think, a 3:02 with chest to bar pull-ups, and that was pretty impressive. The deadlift burpee workout, which we literally figured out 2 or 3 days before the event. We were standing inside the shop and trying to figure out another workout that could be really fast for the best guys and a little longer for the other guys. And we settled with, we ended up putting 275 on a bar, and I had to test it, and I ended up doing it in 4 minutes. And at that time I was like, okay, if I could do this workout in 4 minutes with not in competition or anything like that, the best guys are going to be doing it in easily the low 3 minutes. And it turns out the best guys were doing that workout in sub 3 minutes. I think Kalipa had a 2:47, and a few other guys had sub 3 minute times on that workout. And the run just happened to coincide in that same time domain. The following day workout, we did the squat clean, 155-pound squat clean, 30 reps per time. And that 155-pound weight, we actually decided on the previous day. The original plan for day 2, and Chris Spieler is probably going to hate me for this, the original plan on day 2 was Grace, squat clean Grace. And if it would have been squat clean Grace, it would have been a different outcome. The 08 games would have ended differently. But everyone was so strong that year that we said, hey, let's beef it up a little. Let's add some weight to this workout, make it a little more demanding on the load, and that's how we ended up with 155 pounds for that final workout. '07 I looked upon almost like a seminar. At that time we were doing a lot of seminars, and I was always setting up the workouts at the seminars, and it felt just like that, like we were doing a workout at a seminar. But '08 was like, okay, now we really need to put on a true event. We need to lay things out. We need to have legit scoring, legit judges, and it just took it to that next level of, okay, now I realize there's a ton of potential for the future of this sport. '08 told us this sport's going places, and it's going to go there fast. Whereas '07, I didn't really believe that. But once the '08 games came and went, I understood the potential of the sport. End of day one, it was one person. It was Chris Spieler. His performance after day one on all these workouts that were, the heavy deadlift with the burpee, the chest to bar Fran, and the run. After the end of day one, Chris had over a minute. I think it was a minute and a half lead over the nearest competition, and the margin from 2 to 10 was like 45 seconds, where he was over a minute ahead of everyone else. So the most memorable moment for me is just the fact that he was so far ahead of everyone and so poised to win, and it's just such a different level than everyone else. And then day two, Jason Khalipa coming out of nowhere. I didn't see one rep he on that workout, because we were all too focused on Josh and Chris and a couple of the other guys. Ricky Frausto was in front too. Ricky was in second going into day two, and we were all watching them, and no one even looked over at Khalipa. What's interesting about Jason is he went to a level one probably 3 or 4 months prior to that event, and he went to the level one with his partner Joe, his partner in his gym, Joe, and at the level one, Joe says to me, "This guy here, Jason, he's going to win the CrossFit Games this year." And I kind of laughed, and I was like, "Sure he is." And everyone claims that, and he goes, "No, really, Jason's going to win." So because he said that, I instantly paid more attention to him, and I watched him do Fran at the seminar, and he got like a 3:20 on Fran, and I basically instantly wrote him off. You're not going to have a 3:20 Fran time and win the CrossFit Games at this point in the game. And he kept training, and he came around, and the second time I heard Jason Khalipa's name was when I had to call him out as the winner of the 2008 CrossFit Games. And that was pretty impressive. I didn't even notice him on day one or notice any of his performances of the '08 Games, although he did have one of the faster times on that deadlift burpee workout. It still didn't pop out to me. And Katie Motter and the Tanya thing, Katie came back and won that that final event on the second day to win the games, and that was interesting because I actually thought Tanya had won and called Tanya out as winning. In reality, it was Katie who had won. That format was great. That ending, that workout where we had the countdown of the seconds, and the winner of the heat was the true winner of the games. That was a cool way to end it.